Hey folks, this is Rebel Rousing Rich Bergeron.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Tornado, Tony Pennecow.
And second Tom Petty. With his predictions all set for a busy weekend.
Yeah. Yep, some big fights in the UFC, some really big implications for the boxing world here with Canelo Alvarez moving up in weight against Dimitry Bivol this weekend, and you know the whole Russia thing. I suppose he can't even play the Russian anthem on his way to the ring. I don't know if you guys heard that, but yeah, it's gonna be a fucking crazy.
You know what's funny? You know what's when you look at something that you posted on social media years ago, and then it's like, huh? You know, and then you laugh about it. Generally, I don't cringe at what I write. I laugh. You know, it's like, God, I used to write some stupid shit, and I still do. A couple days ago, it was 7 years ago that it was the highly anticipated and ultimately forgettable Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. And one of my statuses that popped up on Facebook was, we have an American and a Filipino fighting in America. Why are they playing the Mexican national anthem? What's next? Are they going to Nikolai Volkov to sing the Russian national anthem?
Well, it's going to be it's a Mexican version, Tony, of Rocky IV. You know, basically.
I guess. But like someone's like, no. Then one day Mayweather was fighting, and I'm like, yeah, like they're celebrating Cinco de Mayo, which is 3 days away. And give birthday shout outs to my dad or Dwayne The Rock Johnson, who share the May 2nd birthday. Oh my God, it's very offensive. Another year, I was like, I see Mayweather is being led to the ring by the Burger King, and that's offensive to me because I'm on a diet. Huh. And Pacquiao was wearing red and gold, but apparently Ronald McDonald was unavailable. This is the that goes through my head when I'm watching a fight.
Manny Pacquiao's son is fighting this weekend, I believe. Coming up.
Yes.
Yeah, Manny Jr.
Did you hear there was the Sons of Legend fought last week?
Yes, our boy, the boy of
Morrison.
Tommy Morrison, had a rough go of it at first. It looked like he kind of had a little bit of a sloppy defense, but boy, once he started landing those overhand rights and hooks, boom, Rockman was out of it, and he was. Last I saw he was complaining to the ref after he got up, but
fifth round doctor.
Yeah, really
you know, and when you said like had a rough go of in the beginning with a sloppy defense, well, that was his father to a T. And you know, most of the time he got away from got through it, and sometimes he didn't.
He looks so much like
it. That's what made him a money draw. And it wasn't all because of his skin color. I mean, yeah, granted that had a lot to do with it, but because of the fact that you knew when he got in there, you were going to see something. You know, you were likely going to see a knockout. You were likely going to see some, high offense and no defense.
Yep.
You were likely going to get a football game that was going to be like, 35-28.
And I don't care what John Scully says about USNBC belts or whatever. More power to Kenzie there for getting his belt in that fight. Because, this means something to those guys coming up. They might not mean something on the national stage for real, but hey, that's a good belt to get. And, I would love to get him on the show. I'm sure we could. But Tricia is still
That'd
fighting.
Cool.
She's going to the Supreme Court next. And, boy, the Supreme Court's in the news a little bit this week. Just a little bit. All over the place. But, yeah. Great story. Great legacy there. And, wow. He reaches his full potential. Who knows? That's going to be a great fighter right there.
Yeah.
Tough guy there, and real slugger.
So, I should be, if I wasn't stupid, which unfortunately we know sometimes I am. I should be having my bags getting packed right now and getting ready for a 3 o'clock wake up call to be shoveling out to Sin City, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Whoa.
But the tornado made a little bit of a boo-boo. And what happened was, a couple years ago, when I last went, and Canelo was fighting Danny Jacobs, which is a fight that I really wanted to see. The prior year, I wanted to take my dad for his 70th, and Canelo was going to fight Triple G. I think that was the one that got postponed a couple months because of the tainted beef. But I wanted to go, I wanted
that thing.
to go for the one fight card. The pre-sale, the ticket pre-sale was sold out of the cheap seats. I'm like, wait, I'm in a queue for the sale before the tickets go on sale, and they're still sold out? I'm like, that's bullshit. I don't know how these bots operate, and like I said, the only way I could think of it is if a guy has a business, and he employs like a bunch of people. So he employs, say, the three of us and a few other people, and he's like, all right, your max number of tickets you can buy is, say, 10.
Yeah.
You all log on at the same time, you all get in the queue, and you all buy as many as you can. You get back in the queue, and you buy some more. And that way you buy up all the tickets at the $200 price, and we turn around and we sell them for double the value, which is bullshit. Because these seats were starting apparently at $200. I saw not a single $200 seat available. And I'm like, the minimum I saw was $450. And I'm like, if it was Canelo and Charlo, I might have been like, that one, yeah, because I really wanted to see that fight. Bivol, I know it's an interesting fight because he's a highly skilled opponent. He's tall, he's rangy, he's has good boxing ability. But
if he wins, somebody in the audience is going to hit him with a javelin missile.
Maybe. I saw Bivol fight in Atlantic City a couple years ago. He fought Isaac Chalemba. And Chalemba's a good tough fighter. He's got a good chin, steady but unspectacular. And the fight was, basically Bivol winning every round, but every round was forgettable. So you're watching this fight and you're like,
this guy doesn't even have 20 fights.
Carbon copy of the previous round, and the whole crowd was dead.
Yeah.
So if it was like Canelo and Charlo, I would have tried to work some magic and tried to talk to some people.
I'm going to talk about it in a minute,
like,
how good you are at predicting shit, Tony. But can you tell me when was Saul Alvarez's last knockout?
Canelo?
Or TKO?
Are you talking about Canelo Alvarez or?
Yes.
Saul Alvarez.
Saul Canelo.
Well, okay, Canelo. Well, let's see. His last TKO would have been his. Who did he fight? Caleb Plant.
Yeah. Last fight. So, when was Dimitry Bivol's last stoppage?
Great question. When I went to see him a couple years ago, I think he was perfect on the knockout ledger at that time, and I don't know if he's had a knockout since.
Nope, he has not had a TKO of any kind. He's had all unanimous decisions dating back to Sullivan Barrera, who he TKO'd in the 12th round of their fight in 2018. So,
Yeah, what month was that in 2018?
March.
And I saw him in August that year, and we're like, he's coming off a stoppage of Sullivan Barrera. This guy's really going to be somebody to watch. And like I said, he's fighting Isaac Chalemba, who's a good, solid, tough fighter, but nothing, extraordinary. And it was a carbon copy. Every round was the same. It was just Bill was winning, using his jab, and nothing exciting was happening. And it was like,
yeah, and it doesn't look like he's fought anybody who was undefeated at the time. Except for this one guy here, Felix Valera, back in 2016. He was 13-0. Fought him in Moscow. Won by unanimous decision. But, as far as big names, Canelo has fought and beaten a lot of big names who were undefeated. So, the odds, I think, should be fully in his favor here, even though he's going up a little bit. If Bivol was a knockout artist, I would say different, but he doesn't seem to have that knockout power against the bigger guys, bigger names. So, I don't know, but Tony, we have to defer to you on this because you were somehow remote viewing Tom's crystal ball with your boxing predictions last week.
Okay. Well, it's hard to say on how Bivol's going to do when he gets hit or if he gets behind. Because, when you fight Canelo on Cinco de Mayo weekend in Las Vegas, you're already about 3 rounds down before the fight even starts. And, now, so it's like, how does a guy like Bivol fight when he's already behind? That's question number one. And question number two is, like, what happens, when he gets hit? What happens, if he gets hurt? Because he really hasn't had a lot of adversity in his career. So you're going to have the crowd pressure and the Canelo pressure on you. Because we've seen Canelo bring his power up to light heavyweight. And he's been improving every fight. You saw in his last few fights, his upper body movement has been good. Putting his punches together, finding openings, not rushing his punches.
I noticed, like, just looking at his
So
record
it's a
tonight,
fight that
he has a lot of late
gonna,
fight finishes. Like, it's just one of those things, like...
yeah, you're right, he does. He
weathers
brings
you
his
down,
power late.
wears you out, and then he takes you out.
He brings his power late. Bivol has shown to be a durable guy. I mean, of the guys he's fought, I don't remember him ever being in trouble. But I can't see him being versatile enough to win.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll win some rounds, maybe possibly early, when Canelo is trying to, set his range and get his pace and set up his openings. But, once Canelo starts coming in and starts landing those counter punches, I think that's going to force Bivol into maybe opening up a little bit more. And the more he opens up, the more susceptible he is. And I think he will last the distance. I think he will get beaten up maybe the last few rounds. So by the end of it, you're going to see that he's been in a fight.
Right.
And I think it'll be a Canelo decision, unanimous, and relatively clear.
Right. I don't know. I think Canelo's going to take him out by the 10th, I'd say.
Okay.
I think he wants to prove something. And this guy's going to be getting booed left and right. He's a fucking Russian on American soil right now. So I think he's going to get charged up by the audience. He's obviously going to have a little bit of a Mexican contingent there. And then that on top of it, I just don't see how he doesn't, like, rise to the occasion there. and like the last time he fought a heavier guy was Kovalev. And it took him a while, but he did the same thing. He took him out late. So I'm going to say a little bit earlier this time, 10th round. That's my psychic prediction. I don't know. You were so good last week, Tony. Katie Taylor, you pretty much said, picked her to win. She won. Then you said, Kerr Stevenson. Yeah, it's hard to bet against him. Boom. He beat Oscar Valdez. Talk about undefeated fighter.
Yeah.
Gave him his first loss.
I didn't get to see any. I only got to see a little bit of the Katie Taylor fight because that fight was on after the show that ended. So I was watching some of that from the Parks Casino, but it was so loud you couldn't hear anything. Baseball game was on the other TV, so everybody was kind of watching that. All you were hearing was slot machines and blackjack tables, hitman, dice rolling. So I didn't stay all that much longer after the show ended. But from what I got to see of it, they said it's one of the best female fights of all time, and really a candidate for fight of the year. 2 high quality, well schooled female fighters, and equally matched, and they went at it. Serrano was ahead early, and then Taylor fought her way back in. There's been debate on who should have gotten the decision. So, do it again, right?
Yeah, it seems like, though, Katie Taylor is looking for a way to avoid a rematch already, though, from what I've heard of the rumblings behind the scenes. But we'll see. I think they both have a lot more respect for each other now that they've faced each other. But, boy, talk about evenly matched. I mean, sometimes you get two people that come together, and it's like, oh man, after one fight, it's like almost guaranteed they're gonna have a three fight series. third fight might decide it. Man, so it's gonna be crazy. Definitely put women's boxing on the map for sure. So we got Saturday coming up. It's Mother's Day weekend, so we're probably not gonna have too much in the United States except for that big one, Vegas.
Well, what do we do? Well, obviously we got the big Canelo deal this weekend.
Right. Oh, I'm sure we'll
And
have a Jesus fight.
I want to see who's on that undercard.
Ooh, there's it.
Yeah, my one buddy messages me today. He's like, not on the flight. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, this might. I mean, it's not really a total mismatch, but this is a great Italian fight of the week. We'll call it. It's in Lazio, Italy. Tony, you like this one? Okay.
I like it.
Middleweights: Marco Mero, 3-0, fighting Luigi Montagna, who is 295-2. 95 losses. Going for number 96.
He's got the 2 wins. In fact, it was funny. You know what, Rich? You know what's funny? I just pull up Saturday on BoxRec, and I'm scrolling down like I'm like, you know, spinning the wheels, the Price is Right wheel, right? And what do I end up on? Marco Mero and Luigi Montagna. So we had a guy with 3 fights fighting a guy with 99 fights.
Yeah.
So a little difference in experience here. 295-2. Well, he's 4 out of 99 non-losses.
That's what his friends say about him when they want to say something nice. They go, "Well, he's experienced."
He's got experience. So taking a look, I just want to look at real quick what we got on out in Vegas where I should be. So obviously we have our main event, Dimitry Bivol and Canelo Alvarez. Dimitri's 19-0.
The co-main event.
And let's look at him real quick. 19-0 with 11 knockouts, and like I said, he's been on how many straight fights? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight distance fights. So at one point he was 13-0 with 11 knockouts, and then after that it was, I'm not going to knock guys out anymore. That's no more fun. Obviously we know Canelo, who's 57-1-2. Interesting fight here on the undercard. We got Montana Love, super lightweight, and he's 17-0 with 9 knockouts. Not a big puncher. And he had that good win over Ivan Baranchek last year. I remember watching that one. And he stopped Baranchek. And he is fighting Gabriel Golaz, Venezuela, who's 25-2-1 with 15 knockouts. So I don't think you're going to, you don't see 2 big punchers in this fight, but you have 2 quality fighters there. We have Bakram Gayazev at 12-0 against Christian Gomez, 22-2-1, and then you have a lot of your fights that won't be getting the televised time. You have Joselito Velasquez, 14-0, Jose Soto, 15-1. That's an interesting fight. ZL Zhang, is that Chinese kid that's huge?
Yeah, heavyweight. 23-0-1.
3-0 with 18 knockouts, and he's a 6'6" heavyweight from China. Yeah, I remember watching him. You know what I'm going to say is funny about him? He was destroying everybody. I mean, he was destroying everybody. And he was, 23, and he's 23-0-1. A few fights ago, last February, he stepped in with a guy named Jerry Forrest down at the Hard Rock in Miami. I think that was on the Canelo undercard. And Philly's game was broken into a brawl. So he was fighting a guy, Jerry Forrest, who was 26-4. And he had Forrest down twice. And it looked like, he's going to blow this guy out of the water. It's going to be easy peasy. And next thing you know, Forrest started fighting back. And this fight, Zhang was so exhausted at the end of the fight, he could barely stand. And if it would have went 30 more seconds, Forrest would have knocked him out. And it ended up being a majority draw. Where, if you look at it, 2 of the judges had it 93-93, which means they gave Forrest 7 of the... or 6 of the 10 rounds, and then No, seven. 7 of the 10 rounds, but the 2 points cost him the decision.
Yeah. Crazy. That's a great card all around. There's a couple titles on the line, too. In the co-main event, we've got the IBF North American Super Lightweight title. And then at welterweight, we have at the Glyasov-Gomez fight there, we have the vacant IBF North American welterweight title. A couple NA titles. Also in New York, in Queens, on Saturday, we have Maureen Shea, 29-2-1, fighting Calista Salgado, 19-13-3. And it's a pretty interesting story because Maureen Shea was like one of the very first people who I ever interviewed.
Maureen Moshe.
Period, in the boxing world, like, who was big at the time. She's still big. Good name, good presence on Facebook, you know, and always posting stuff when she's in training camp. And looks like she's really taking it seriously this time out. She's put in some freaking crazy workouts that she's posted. But anyway, I remember a story maybe 5 years after I interviewed her about her moving to California because she had some kind of a seasonal affective disorder thing going on. So she needed, bright sun and, year-round summer to get back in the groove. And so this is back in New York now. So I don't know if she's living there now still or, the seasonal thing's done. But that's awesome to see that she's back in New York. Maybe it's just because it's May. But yeah, awesome to see her making a homecoming here and trying to get that win number 30. Looks like she got a pretty good shot out of here in the main event, so should be a good one. And the only one worth mentioning is the co-main event on the rest of the card. Daniel Gonzalez, 20 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, fighting Paulo Cesar Galdino, who's 11-5. That about does it, really, for this week. Big fight next week is our former guest, Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez, fighting Dominic Bocel. We'll talk about that one next week. But props to the Rain Man of boxing for last week's predictions.
I get him right every once in a while.
Canelo is 57
So
and Floyd
I got
Mayweather, so
this one.
I mean, hard to bet against.
You'll appreciate this because you know how I'm always thinking and I'm always trying to come up with something. And usually my one good friend, when I say something like, I got a plan, he sounds like David Spade and Tommy Boy. He's like, yikes. Or he's usually like, oh, Jesus Christ, what are you thinking of now? God. Or, oh, Christ, this isn't going to end well. So, Rich, I don't know if you saw a photo from last week when I went to the Bronx Tale Show.
A little bit, yeah. I saw a couple pictures, yeah.
But here's how I made that work. A few months ago, we're going to the show. I'm taking my parents and I'm, whatever. So, when I go to a show like this, I went to the comedy show on Saturday night. I was in a sleeveless shirt. Sleeveless Team Tornado shirt, Italian hat, whatever. But when I go to, the Bronx Tale Show, I have to be at the tie that the last time I wore there was the red, white, and green Italian tie. I got it for $14 on some website. It's just a basic red, white, and green tie. So a few years ago, I'm Hank Cisco's pallbearer, and I'm like, I'm not wearing the Phillies outfit, even if they asked me to. I said, but I'm going to wear this tie because he would have appreciated it. And the parish where the funeral was a very heavily populated Italian parish that hosts a festival every year. I said, I'm going to wear this tie. He would have appreciated it. So now, I was not ready for the Monsignor to say, hey, nice tie. I appreciate the compliment, not so much when I'm carrying a man's casket. Nice tie. Okay? So a few months ago, I go to the Chaz Palminteri show. I'm going in, I got red, white, and green tie on, and I see his one associate does the merchandising. The guy's name is Sandy Blue Eyes. Sandy Blue Eyes goes, hey, nice tie. I said, no, thank you. He goes, bring one for us? And I just laughed it off, and I said, next time. I didn't think they were coming back so soon. Next time. So now, after the show was over, my friends, their wives, stalked the car picking Chaz up and got a picture with him. I'm like, fuck that, that's bullshit. I want a picture. Okay, he's coming back. All right, let me see if I can get a couple ties. So I order 2 ties, $14 ties. They're still in the plastic. I'm not a scumbag like that. So I get my ticket. I'm going into the show, and there's Sandy Blue Eyes. I'm like, hey, how you doing? He goes, I like that tie. I said, yeah, remember? He goes, I remember you from last time. I said, do you remember what I said? He's like, well, I can't. Honestly, because I meet so many people. I reach into my right pocket. It's still in the plastic. Thank you very much. I pull out a tie, and I said, this is for you. His eyes lit up. He's like, really? I said, yes, sir. And I said, listen, I reached into my left pocket, and I said, and I got one for Chaz, and I pulled the tie out. And Sandy extends his hand. I put the tie back in my pocket. He knew what I meant. And I knew that he knew what I meant. And he knew that I knew that he knew what I meant. And he looks at me and he goes, how many in your party? I said, just me, sir. Pulls out a wristband. He goes, stay in your seat after the show. Chaz, in the 4 times I've seen this show, has never done a meet and greet after the show. Now, maybe he was inspired by meeting Chrissy and Natalie a few months ago, thinking, hey, shit, I could probably make some extra money for people that want photos with me. Well, maybe I can do this. Maybe, wall it off for about 20, 30 people and, make a little bit. So I'm in my seat, and I go up, I talk to him. Funny thing is, the town he lives in now is only about 9 minutes from where I won my first amateur boxing match.
Yeah. Up
in Valhalla, New York.
Nice.
And we were talking a little bit. I go across the street. I'm sitting with somebody. They're like, yeah, man, I heard it was $150 for the meet and greet. I said, what, who, where? $150 for the meet and greet. I got it for 2 $14 ties.
Nice. Yeah,
that's
it's all
how
about
you
who you ask,
tornadoes, guys.
how you take care of people, who you know. Found that out real quick.
What'd you say?
It's all about, who you ask, how you treat people, and, how dedicated you are, and communication. Like, communication is so huge. I actually haven't talked about it much yet, but I won the big decision in court, and it was on a lot more basic things that I thought it would be. But, we got a lot of other stuff to hash out still. But anyway, as far as selling the house, they can't sell the house without all 3 people agreeing. And they should have known that. They did know that before they tried to do it. So they put me through all this bullshit over nothing. Nothing. Like, they never had a basis to do any of it. So it's like...
Well, that's the problem. It's like, you get these people anymore. It's like they're thinking, like, well, maybe if I just do this, a person will say, oh, you did that? Oh, I didn't know that.
Right.
And they'll throw things past people. That's like, throwing a fastball at somebody and they're not expecting it. And they're like, I didn't know I had to swing at that. Oh, I didn't know if I would have swung, I would have knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
I just let you strike me out. It's like, no.
Yeah,
and
that's the other thing.
From knowing you and knowing your
with the Citizen
history,
as a newspaper reporter.
You're a guy that's like, you're not going to throw one past Rich. I mean, if you're going to beat him, you're going to have to beat him. You're going to have to sit there. You're going to have to present a good argument, and you're going to have to win with facts.
Yeah.
You're not going to get around the guy. You're going to have to go through him.
Yeah, I pretty much said today to the judge that if the court has to have an administrator that everybody's going to agree on, I'm going to withdraw my application to do it, and we're just going to go with an independent administrator at this point, because there's no communication whatsoever, and that's the situation that they created. Because I'm still trying to communicate with them, but it favors them getting a hold of the house if they bankrupt the estate, so they're going to obstruct to the end point. At this point, I'm pretty sure that's their plan B. They're going to try to exhaust the resources of the estate. So get an administrator in there as soon as possible who's independent, who's not personally invested like I am, and I'll just file a claim against them for abuse of process now, because it's totally clear that they did this in such a bullshit manner. They deserve it. But anyway, on another subject. So Tom is with us somewhere out there. We haven't heard him much.
Yes, sir.
You might have to walk us through a little bit.
Taking all the adventure in.
If you watched the card last weekend, I only saw the end of the main event, like the last few rounds. But, oh boy. Marlon Vera did not throw a whole heck of a lot of punches, but when he threw, I mean, he was primarily the one doing the most damage. I think he knocked Rob Font down each of the last 3 rounds, had him close to knocking him out. But Rob Font kept popping right back up and took some damage. Cut his head open, had some really raccoon eyes at the end of it. I mean, it's one of those fights, like, it kind of reminded me of, like, Robbie Lawler in his heyday, where he would just slug with people. But, Rob just did not have the power behind his punches to do enough damage, but he was firing. Even when he was hurt, like, he was just firing. It was probably one of the best fights I stumbled upon in a long time, that's for sure. Just caught the end of it. It's just kind of cleaning up the house on the legal stuff last week, so now I'm kind of out of the woods. We're kind of in a waiting period. Everything's filed that needs to be filed, so I got some time to really invest this weekend. We've got a really big one, but let's get through this one first. I did not see any of the other fights. I just saw that end of that one. Vera did get the win, unanimous decision. Rob, I don't know, take a few months off, man, and protect that head a little bit better next time, and get some lessons in turning your punches over or something, because I don't know whether it was they were being slapped or, what the deal was, but he just did not seem to be able to even get Vera to the point of stumbling over, being shaky-legged. It was just nothing. It was just like getting hit with pillows. He had a very good defense, too, so I don't know. 7 losses for Vera, kind of a deceptive record. He looked really good out there. Kept his cool, won all 5 rounds, looked pretty good. Anyway, co-main event, Andrei Arlovsky notches another win, split decision win, so obviously it was close. Over Jake Paul. Controversial, yeah, always when it's a split. And Joe Anderson Brito, the featherweight, getting the TKO in 41 seconds over Andre Fili. That's a tough one to digest for Fili. I would have never picked that one, too, so I'm glad they did not do the old FanDuel and DraftKings thing. Fantasy this week. Grant Dawson beating Jared Gordon by rear naked choke submission. He needed the 4-1-1. He got the 4-1-1 mark of round 3. Submission, rear naked choke. Okay, so Darren the Damage Elkins living up to his name at featherweight, got a unanimous decision over Tristan Connolly. And then Christoph Jotko at middleweight beating Gerald Mearshart by unanimous decision. Alexander Romanov beating Chase Sherman by a submission. Key lock. Back-to-back first-round submissions here. Key lock by Romanov, 2 minutes and 11 seconds into the fight. And then Francisco Figueiredo in the 4th fight of the night at flyweight, beating Daniel Lacerda by knee bar submission, 1 minute and 18 seconds into that one. It's so rare nowadays, in the post-Frank Mir era, to see heavyweights get a submission win. Alexander Romanov there pulled it off. Anyway, Francisco Figueiredo got the knee bar. Gabriel Green in the 3rd fight of the night at welterweight, beating Johan Lainez by TKO, 4 minutes and 2 seconds into round 2. And Natan Levy at lightweight, beating Mike Breeden by unanimous decision. 1st fight of the night, Shanna Young beating Gina Mazzani at flyweight by TKO at the 3-1-1 mark, 3-11. 2nd round. We've got Bellator. We got PFL going on. We got everything. this weekend. Mother's Day weekend, you'd think there would be less fights, but no. There might be fights on Sunday, too, at these Mother's Day parties. We don't know, but they won't be televised, probably. Anyway. May 6th. That's tomorrow, actually, right? Professional Fighters League 3. Kayla Harrison fighting Marina Moknatkina. Definitely not pronouncing it right. Kayla, 12-0. Dozen. Moknatkina is 6-2. And so by far, so far this season, what's the biggest name we've seen fight in the card? This is actually kind of more big names on this one than I've seen all year. I don't know if it's just because their other stuff was just prelims, or I don't know. It says this is regular season. Whatever that means. I don't know how they operate anymore. It's crazy. Anyway, co-main event is Ray Cooper III, 24-7-1, fighting Carlos Leo Miranda, who is 16-3. And then we got blast from the UFC past, Anthony Pettis, 24-12 at lightweight, fighting Miles Price, who's 11-7. That should be an easy one for Anthony if he's still spry and ready to fight there. Rory McDonald, another UFC vet, 22-8-1, fighting Brett Cooper, another Cooper on the card, 28-15. Not probably related to Ray Cooper. And not Ferdy, but Larissa Pacheco, 15-4 at lightweight, fighting Zamzagul Faizalanova. So tough one. And we got welterweights João Zeffirino, 26-9, fighting Delano Taylor, who's 8-1. Gina Fabian, 4-2, fighting Julia Budd, who's 16-3. And we got fourth fight of the night, Sadibou Sai, 9-6-2 at welterweight, fighting 24-6 Nikolai Alexakin. And then, here's a blast from the past. Gleason Tebow, still fighting at 37-15 is his record at welterweight, fighting 17-3 Jara Al-Salawi. Gleason, I just remember him just always being vicious with those leg kicks when he wants to be. Second fight of the night, Helena Kolesnik, 5-4 at lightweight, fighting Abigail Montez, 3-0. First fight of the night, Vanessa Milo, 11-8, fighting Martina Jindrova, is 4-2 at lightweight. And we got Bellator tomorrow. Bader versus Congo 2. Showtime. Ryan Bader, I'm gonna say right away he's gonna win this one. I don't even know what happened in the first one. I don't even have to look. I'm just gonna say he's gonna win this one. Everybody knows how I feel about Czech Congo. Probably one of the most physically gifted fighters, which you would expect to just mow people down just based on his physique. But he's got 11 losses to go with 31 wins and 2 draws. And, he's fought in some of these, what you would consider feeder leagues forever. And, he's just kind of found a home at Bellator. And, I don't know. I think Ryan's at another level right now. He's just way better. Wrestling's so much better on point. And Czech likes to wrestle, unfortunately for him, because, he loses decisions that way. He just gets grounded and pounded. And I think Bader's just going to have a field day with him. Heavyweight fight here, but I just can't figure it out. Like, a guy like Czech Congo should be standing his ground, keeping his distance to some point, and like using his range with his striking. But it's just like, I don't know, his striking has just never impressed me. He tries to.
Well, Rich, if he hasn't figured it out by now,
Czech Congo's going to come to my house tomorrow. It'll be fucked. What? What'd you say about me? Oh no. No, but yeah. Yeah, it's just frustrating. Like, you know, it's being a former coach. You'd like to just like scream at a guy like that and say, "Listen, buddy, you gotta change your game. Like, you could be so much better." You know. I don't know. Just my 2 cents. If I was a betting man, I would not bet on Czech as an underdog. Yoel Romero might be a different story. He's quite the formidable character. He is 13-6 light heavyweight, fighting Alex Polizzi, who is 10-1. That's kind of a toss-up for me. I don't know much about Polizzi, but Yoel is he's beating a lot of tough guys. I'll count him out. Lightweights in the 11th fight, Davey Gallen, 20-7 with 2 draws, fighting Benjamin Brander, who is 13-8. Then we got a middleweight bout, Lorenz Larkin, 23-7, fighting Kyle Stewart, who's 15-5. Mike Shipman, 14-3, fighting Gregory Babine, who's 21-11. Then we got Pedro Carvalho, 12-5 at featherweight, fighting Piotr Niedzielski, who is 16-4. And then 7th fight of the night, Lewis Long, 19-6, fighting Tibalt Gauti, who's 15-5. And we got 6th fight of the night, Fabakary Diata, 8-0 at featherweight, fighting Jordan Barton, who's 6-2-1. 160-pound catchweight fight, Soren Bach, 14-1, fighting Charlie Leary, who's 17-12-1. That's a journeyman fight. Yves Landau in the 4th fight of the night, 16-9, fighting Gavin Hughes, 10-2. 3rd fight of the night, Lucy Bertaud, 3-3, fighting Katarzyna Sadura, who's 5-4. Definitely not to be on TV. Okay, so UFC 274, May 7th, from Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix, Arizona. That's not a place they go to a lot, I wouldn't think. But Charles Oliveira versus Justin Gaethje. And boy, this is gonna be a brawl. No matter what happens. I mean, I think this might be the greatest first round in the history of the UFC. These guys both live up to their potential, but I think 2nd, 3rd round, Charles Oliveira is going to start edging it out, and he's just the all-around better fighter to me. Justin is the slugger. He's very susceptible to submissions, as we saw in the Khabib fight, and he's just I don't know. He's just got the puncher's chance. That's all I see. He's got the puncher's chance. Charles has just such a well-rounded game. We saw he had a great chin in his last fight. I don't know. I hate to try to taint your crystal ball, Tom, but what do you think? Tom, you with us?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there he is.
Nice and quiet, just listening.
What do you think, Charles or Justin?
I go back and forth on that. And the worst part of it, I like both guys, so it's going to be tough watching.
Yeah.
But so far, every time I've underestimated him, he's come through. So until he's beat, I got to give him a slight edge. But what a fight that's going to be. It's a train wreck.
Oh, I think that first round is just going to be wild stuff. But I don't know. It's just one of those any given Sunday type of fights. Like any guy could win, I believe.
Oh, that. Yeah. I mean, whichever guy you take, I could argue the opposite quite well. But Gaethje just says he's broken the past mentally, and he's fixed that. But he feels if you've done it before, you can do it again. And Gaethje says, I've never done it before. So that's how he's going to just attack. Gaethje just said that's his strategy. He said against Khabib, he was backing up, and he says, if you see me backing up, that's not good for me.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, I could see Gaethje in another fight where he needed to like step up his wrestling, like take the guy down and just ground and pound him. But with Oliveira, you got to worry about the submission all the time, even when you're standing. So
Yeah.
it's just going to be tough to do that, and because he's got shorter reach going in. But if he hits Oliveira on the button, on the chin, I think it's going to be a lot different than some of his more recent opponents, because Gaethje can slug with the best of them. So it's a knockout artist versus a submission artist, really. But Oliveira can strike too, so I go with Oliveira. If I had all my money to bet, Oliveira. Give me 50 grand on Oliveira. No, not going to do that. I would not be wise. It's a very close fight on paper. Official records: Oliveira is 32-8. Justin is 23-3. And Oliveira's on a win streak going back to 2018 as well. So this is going on 4 years in June. It'll be 4 years straight if he wins this one. Co-main event is an interesting one. Another rematch. Rose Namajunas, 11-4 against Carla Esparza, 18-6. I think these two ladies are at two different points in their careers. Carla's kind of on the down. Namajunas is on the up. And it's a strawweight title fight. I don't see Carla doing very good in this one. I think he's going to get dominated. But that's just me. And then the real one, it's number 13. Unlucky number 13. Fight of the night. Michael Chandler versus Tony Ferguson. Boy, that is going to be crazy. Chandler.
Yeah, and I'd say it's darn near a must-win for both guys. Think about it.
Yeah.
Think
about
about it.
Ferguson.
Tony's been gone for a year, and apparently he's been training in his garage, and he got his college wrestling coach. That's about all he's been doing, and so he's trying something different. And Chandler has been so close, but if he comes up short, this will be 3 in a row. So both guys have so much on the line.
Well, it's funny because this is a Sherdog picture. His eyes all busted up. Mid-fight or something. I don't know. 22-7 is his formal record. 25-6 is Ferguson. Both guys have been in some wars. And Ferguson in particular, I think he's just taken a lot of headshots. He does not typically take the fight to the ground. He would rather have it standing, and when he does, like, he lands more punches, but he takes a lot to land them too. Chandler,
he
tends to be more.
He says it's going to be different this time, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Chandler tends to be more wrestling based. You know, he likes to take people down. He's got a shorter reach, so he's likes to get on the inside. And we'll see. We'll see if Tony's really been practicing his wrestling that hard. This is going to be an interesting one. And if he really has changed his game to that point and doesn't want to slug as much, that's probably smart on as far as longevity, because I imagine he's got to be having some brain issues at this point. That's why he wanted to take a year off. But Chandler's not the kind of guy you want to go up against when you're coming back from a tough headhunter type of fight. Because Chandler's going to be doing the same thing. He's going to be looking for that chin.
Yeah, and Tony Fields said in an interview that Chandler is looking past him. And I don't know how true that is, but I don't know. I mean, Tony maybe he's put something together. That's why it's so intriguing.
Yeah.
I would assume. Have you seen the odds, Rich? I didn't check.
I have not.
I would assume Chandler's the favorite.
Yeah, he could be. Tony Ferguson. Another blast from the UFC past. He's still going. Mauricio Shogun Ua at light heavyweight, 27-12 with one draw. Fighting OSP Ovent St. Preux, who is 25-16. These couple veterans here We're veterans of the big boys. I don't know. I don't know who to pick on this one, really. I mean, I just don't know. Flip a coin. Probably not gonna be a knockout either. I mean, these guys are getting up in there in their age, and I don't know. I have a vision of like it's a really sloppy, ugly fight. A lot of grappling and throwing each other around and gassing each other out. I don't know. Could be wrong, but that's just what I see. Now, this is one that Dana White himself has called a loser leaves town fight. Donald Cerrone versus Joe Lauzon. I hate to say that about my old home state boy, Joe Lauzon, 2028-15, but he's looking for one to go out on a good note, and if he beats a name like Donald Cerrone, that'll be it for him. I'm sure he will leave his gloves right in the center and be done. Cerrone, on the other hand, I just don't know. I don't see the quit in that kid. He spends his money really fast too, which doesn't help. But he trains a lot too. Like it's 24/7. Like he's either training or running a camp, or he just loves the training aspect of it too. So I don't see him quitting, win or lose.
Well, I could say that they're both kind of past their prime.
Yeah.
And by the way, Michael Chandler is minus 410, and Ferguson is plus 310.
Wow.
And Charles is a slight favorite, minus 165. Casey at plus 145.
Oh.
And Cerrone minus 170. Joe Lauzon plus 150.
Place your bets. So yeah, Cerrone versus Lauzon. That's like a legend fight right there.
And OSP minus 235. Shogun Hua plus 190.
Oh, he's the favorite. He's younger, that's why, I guess. I think Hua's faced the tougher talent, though, so if I had to pick one, I'd say Hua. I haven't seen him lately, so I can't really say. Welterweights, we got a couple of them in a row. Randy Brown, 14-4, fighting Kalen Williams, who's 13-2. We got Francisco Trinaldo, 27-8, fighting Danny Roberts, who's 18-5. Then we got a featherweight female fight, Macy Chason, who is 7-2, fighting Norma Dumont, who's 7-1. Flyweights, Brandon Royval, 13-6, fighting Matt Schnell, 15-5. And a big heavyweight fight, Blagoy Ivanov, 18-4, fighting Marcos Rogerio de Lima, who is 19-7. Andre Fiallo at welterweight, 15-4, fighting Cameron Van Camp, who's 15-5-1. And we got a really good flyweight fight in the fourth fight of the night. Tracy Cortez, 9-1, fighting Melissa Gatto, Gatto. She is 8-0-2. And then the third fight of the night, Clayson Rodriguez, 7-1 at flyweight, fighting CJ Vergara, who's 9-3-1. Second fight of the night is another female fight, Ariane Carnelosi, 14-2, fighting Lupita Godinez, who is 7-2. And I don't know, this guy sounds like a Native American name here. First fight of the night, Journey Newson, 9-3. I don't really look Native American. Journey. Who names their kid Journey? A Journey fan, maybe. Bantamweight fight here. His opponent is Fernando Garcia. Tough date here. 10-1 is his record. First fight of the night. That's pretty good. So that's all I have for events. I don't know. Has there been any big news that I missed in the boxing, combat, sports world? Check.
Oh, Dana is urging Usman and Ngannou to stop talking about the crossover stuff.
Oh, really?
He said that, to sum it up, he said that he understood why the McGregor-Mayweather fight was such a big deal and the hype, but there's not much interest in seeing Usman fight Canelo Alvarez or seeing Ngannou fight Tyson Fury, even with small gloves. I think Ngannou would have an uphill battle. So Dana White says, "Stop it, guys." But really, can you blame them, considering how much they make?
Not at all. And it's clear that he's just waiting for his contract to be, dissolved, basically.
Yeah. And I think Ngannou has a better chance of fighting Tyson Fury, because if Tyson Fury retires, then he can do pretty much what he wants and get one of those, one of those crossover freak fights with it would be boxing with MMA gloves. So I would have to go with Tyson Fury in that. I mean, Ngannou could land for sure, but I just think that if it were an MMA fight, it would be a whole other story. But I think it's too slanted toward Tyson Fury's favor.
Right.
It'd be kind of fun to watch. But Canelo has just moved on and just pretty much told Usman, "Oh, shut up, stop it." So that's not going to happen.
Wow. All right. So, I guess that's it for us. Till next week. I don't think we'll have Amanda on very soon. She's probably going to be in recovery mode for a little bit. It's a tough match, but definitely over the next couple weeks we'll figure out something there. You know who I'd really like to get on? I keep seeing him online, and he's got the connection with our other great guest that we had, one of Tony's favorites, Diamond Dallas Page. Butterbean. I bet you Butterbean would love to come back on.
That'd be cool.
I've talked to him in a dog's age, as they say. But I was thinking about that the other
Dude,
day.
he's been losing a lot of weight. He looks really good.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. I want some more he's having. I gotta lose my gut. Anyway, tree work just doesn't cut it anymore. Yeah, maybe a little bit more at our age. Alright, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us here, and hopefully I win the big bunny this weekend. I'm gonna get back to my picks, see what happens. Get up early tomorrow, do my math, figure out who's gonna win what. But yeah, I think Do Bronx is gonna do well. That's my pick of the week.
Yeah, that's
Submission, second or third round. Submission or I don't see him knocking him out. I mean, I'm sure he's going to train a lot of boxing and striking for this because defensive wise, he's going to want to keep him off him while he's on his feet. He's going to want to keep him back, but I think it's going to be more defensive approach for the striking, and he's going to want to be on the ground, and he's going to get there, and he's going to submit him one way or another.
And I kind of get the feeling maybe Bivol will make it closer than a lot of people think. But I don't see him winning a decision in Las Vegas.
Nope.
That's the problem. And I'm going to order it because I've got one guy coming down that just loves boxing. Got another guy wants to come up to the MMA, so we'll have to have a couple screens. But, if Bivol would really pull it off and just completely outbox, which I don't see happening, even then, how's he going to get a decision on Cinco de Mayo, And then I feel like an idiot for watching.
They better not give the fans anything to throw if Bivol wins.
Well, there you go.
Plastic beer bottles.
Those are always concerns. That's
sure.
Yeah, I mean, we know how how that can go, and I've seen it live.
Yeah, I talked to the guy who's seen it live with Marvin Hagler, one of his seconds there. I met in Brockton. I forget the guy's name, but it's one of our old boy Dennis Maurice's friends was in the ring when they went to the UK there and fought. Was it Alan Minter or something like that? And they got pelted by the fans.
Alan Minter.
Oh,
yeah.
They got pelted. Like, they were lucky to get out of that arena alive.
They were fighting.
This is back in the day. Yeah, it's not so bad now, but unreal. We're going to see if Bivol can pull it off, but I just don't. I just think there's so much going against him. Oh, man. Just being Russian in this climate right now. Whew. Being Russian on American soil. You'd be lucky if he doesn't get spit on us.
It's sad because I listened to an interview with him. He's a first-class gentleman, you know, a real sportsman, just the kind of guy that just hate to see him in this situation because I just have a bad feeling about it.
Well, maybe people will be civil, and give him the benefit of the doubt, you know. But it is boxing. You don't play boxing. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I don't know. It's just going to be. There's going to be a lot of Rocky IV vibe, like I said earlier. It's the Mexican version. We'll see. We'll see if he's a machine or not. Bivol. I think he's not.
Nah. He's tough. He's got skills, but I mean, I don't think he's got the versatility to, hang with Canelo and outmaneuver him for 12 rounds.
The real question is, does Canelo stay there once he's there now? Does he come back down again, or does he stay up there?
Depends on what the money is. If the fight with Beterbiev comes up, and that's a big money fight, I mean, Canelo's smart enough. Like right now, he's the cash cow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever's going to bring him the most money. I mean, it could be another fight with Triple G, where he's going to make the most money. I mean, he controls pretty much what he wants right now.
Right. I mean, he's in that position. He also said he will fight Spence, but at 168.
Okay.
That would be a little bit too much respect.
Well, if he stays up there, there's going to be
think at that weight.
There's going to be a lot of jacked up, steroid-filled bulls running from him on the field. You're going to have to stay bulky, you know. Going to be eating a lot of tainted meat. We'll see. Hopefully he learned his lesson from that incident. But anyway, Canelo by landslide, I think, this weekend. I don't know. Like, I like Gaethje's chances better than Bivol. But it's like one of those things when you have a record like that. You're not necessarily trying to protect it because everybody's coming for you. But like, if you're going to move up, you pick the guy that you can beat to move up. And as far as experience goes, he's got the least experience for that weight for him to move up against and really have somebody on paper that looks good. Not to say that Bivol is a pushover, but I mean, it's like, of all the people that you could pick to move up against and make a real big statement, he's not like the number one guy by any means. So I think he purposely picked him. He knows his style works against him. And hey, if Bivol proves me wrong, it's going to be an upset. Kind of like Usyk pulled off not too long ago. So it's going to take a lot. But you add the drama behind, the whole Russia thing. I think it's going to be a tough environment for him. It's going to be, the crowd's going to be against him. The odds are going to be against him. He's really going to have to pull one out. I have been wrong before, as Tony can point out from last week. So we never know. But anyway, that's my 2 cents. Any final thoughts, fellas?
Let's enjoy the fight. That's my final thought.
All right. I will enjoy all of them this weekend. That's all I'm going to be doing. I'm not going to be filing anything. I'm going to be putting my feet up and watching the damn TV. Getting back to doing what I like to do. View violence, right? Legal violence. All right, till next week, guys. Thanks for stopping by.
Okay, guys.
All right, guys.
And have a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day. Adios.